Welcome. You are now looking at the website zoom.us, also known as zoom.com. Zoom.com is made for online meetings where you can share your screen and your camera as well as message in real time. And most notably, it can also be used as a webinar system. Individuals can join your online meeting if they have connecting through their personal computer or their mobile device. And from a mobile device, Zoom does allow both starting as well as joining online meetings and webinars. So in this course, we will look at the process of setting up and starting your online meetings and webinars. We'll look at the Zoom meeting software in both its basic and advanced forms. We'll also look at integrations with third-party applications. We'll look at those primarily used through the native application. In particular, we'll look at both scheduling and storage options. So we'll start the process with a discussion of plans and pricing and those most likely to be used by both entrepreneurs and information creators. Welcome back. Now, if you come to zoom.com and you go to the link that says plans and pricing, that's going to open up to this pricing page. And what you're going to notice is that there is a free version which will allow you to have up to 100 participants in any meeting up to 40 minutes long. You can have unlimited one-to-one meetings or group meetings, and those group meetings include video conferencing with video and audio and the ability to see the speaker in full screen. You also have web conferencing, which means that individuals can join using their mic and headset from their personal computer or their mobile device. In terms of group collaboration, you'll notice that there are breakout rooms available, as well as screen sharing using an iPad or iPhone application. Now, when you move from free to a paid plan, you will then be able to hold your meetings at least 24 hours instead of the 40 minutes. You'll also be able to have multiple users and manage those users, as well as reports that you can analyze. A paid plan also gives you 1 GB of MP4 storage and cloud recording, and gives you the ability to add in Skype for Business as an integration. When you have a paid plan, you can also pay for cloud storage. Most importantly, though, you can add in video webinars at $40 a month. So that if you want to have individuals over 100 attendees and then do it webinar style, you'll need to have the add-on. Now, what's important about this is that this webinar feature allows you to stream live to both Facebook and YouTube. In this course, we will look at a number of the free features, but we will also look at adding on the webinar, cloud-based storage, and Skype. Welcome back. Now, in this video, we're going to take a look at your meeting settings. I'm going to go to My Account, and you're going to have a number of default settings available to you. In most cases, you can start using the webinar system with the default settings. One thing you'll want to pay attention to is whether you want your visitors to chat in most of your meetings. Now again, when you do this, this is going to set up your default settings for all of your webinars. So you'll want to determine how you want to interact with individuals on your webinars. Now if you have individuals participating with you, you'll want to determine whether you're going to allow them to use the annotation tools on the shared screens. You can turn this feature off by default, and then you'll be the only one that can add notes to your shared screen. Now, if you want to add in the meeting room feature, you can do that here in this version. All you need to do is to turn the meeting rooms on. That setting will be updated, and then your breakout rooms will then be available on your webinars or your meetings. Now, although you'll go through all of the settings to determine how to customize your system, the most important one will be your email notifications. You can have emails go out when attendees join before the host does, and when a meeting is canceled. Again, these are going to be by default, and you can turn these on or turn them off. You'll also want to look at the recording tab. And you'll notice that in each case, you're going to be creating a local recording. That means that your recording of your meeting or webinar is going to be saved to your hard drive. Now, if you have a paid version, you are going to have access to a cloud-based storage system. You can also make sure that your webinars are going to be automatically recorded whenever you have one, and that means that you'll need to turn this on. If you want to make sure that individuals know they're being recorded, you can turn this feature on. This will then prompt individuals to make sure they consent to being recorded before your recording actually starts. You can have individuals notified by audio that they're being recorded when you turn on this feature. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, if you are in the meeting section, you're going to notice a gray area here where you can schedule your meetings directly from your calendar. You can use a Microsoft Outlook plugin, which will connect to your desktop if that's what you use. You can extend using Google Chrome or with Firefox. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to download the Chrome extension. What we're going to do now is we're going to click Add to Chrome. And then we're going to click Add Extension. Then in your browser area, you're going to notice that there is going to be a Zoom scheduler available to you. Once you have this dialog box, you're going to want to sign in to your Zoom account. Now, once you're signed into Zoom, what you'll be able to do from Google Chrome is you'll be able to pick a date from your Google Calendar. You're going to click on the title and the name, and then what you'll be able to do here is you'll be able to click this link that says Make it a Zoom meeting. That event will then be saved in your Google Calendar, and you'll notice then that the link is then saved. You'll also then notice, if you refresh your page, that the meeting will be saved in your Zoom group of meetings. Welcome back. Now, you can manage the users on your account by going to User Management and clicking Users. Now, this is going to be a paid feature. So we're going to upgrade our account so that we can take a look at this feature. So once we've upgraded, we can add additional free users, again, depending on our plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Add Users, and then we're going to add those users with their email address. What we're then going to do is click the Add button. That individual will then be part of our pending users. They'll then have to check their email in order to become part of our account. That individual will then have a Zoom account invitation. They'll then need to click this link to activate their account. They will then have a free level of your account to schedule their meetings. And then if you come back to your pending area, you hit your refresh button. That user then will be part of your users on your account. And you'll notice then that they are considered to be a basic or free member. Welcome back. Now, you can create in-meeting closed captioning for those that will be attending your meeting or webinar. And what you're going to want to do is come into your settings area. You're going to want to click this third link. That's going to bring you down to the in-meeting or advanced section. When you find that section, you're going to come to this link. As of the recording of this video, it's the third one down. We're going to click this link over, and then you will then be enabled. That means then that once we are inside of our meeting, we'll be able to come to this right side menu. We'll then be able to click Closed Caption. And then we have a few choices. We can assign the closed caption to an individual that is participating with us on the call. And we'll need to assign that to them here. We'll also then be able to type the transcription ourselves. And if that's the case, we're going to click this button that says I will type. We can give the URL to a third-party service. And we click this button. This is going to put the URL onto our clipboard so that we can pass it on to another individual. Welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to start the process by creating a Zoom meeting. And what we can do is we can either start a meeting by going to this link to host a meeting right now and then distribute the link, or we can schedule a meeting for the future, determining when that time is going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Schedule a Meeting, and then we're going to write in all of the identifying information. Now, one thing we can do is we can make this a recurring meeting. So if this meeting is going to be once a week or even once a day, we can do that by clicking this link. For the purposes of this video, we're going to take this task off. We can also require registration for this meeting. So for example, we can click this link, and then individuals will need to register before they can attend. You can determine upfront whether video cameras will be available. So for example, what we can do is we can turn on this task. This will mean that video cameras will be available for the host. We can also have video available for the participants. We can then determine how individuals are going to be able to connect. If we determine that we want them only to connect by telephone, we can do that, or by computer audio. It's likely that you'll want both to be available, so we're going to leave this as the default setting. Now again, if you're going to be distributing the link and individuals are going to register, some of these things that you'll be doing on a case-by-case basis. If you want individuals to be able to join the room before you get there, you can click Enable Join Before Host. We're going to untick this. If you only want discussion to occur when you're there, you can click Mute Participants upon entry. And you can use the long meeting ID, but again, if you're going to be distributing the link, you don't have to do this. Now, what you can do is you can enable a waiting room so that when individuals come, they can then be part of a waiting room instead of seeing the standard Zoom screen. Now, because we're using a paid plan, we can determine that we want this meeting to be recorded automatically. We can say that we want it recorded in the cloud, or we can have it to be recorded on our personal computer. If you want individuals to be available to be a host in order to take over the meeting when you are not there, you can do that by putting in their email address here in this area. Once you have it, you can then click Save. What you can then do is click this link to copy the invitation, and then you can copy this invitation into an email. And then you can distribute this information. If you just want to distribute the link, you can copy this link, and then you can distribute the link to individuals to attend the meeting. Now, when the individual gets the link, they're going to be asked to download information to their personal computer in order to attend the Zoom meeting. Now, in the next video, we will start the process of starting the meeting. Welcome back. Now that our meeting has been set, we can come back to this screen, and what we can do is we can click Start This Meeting. Now, you'll find the open link to this meeting by going to this section, which is My Meetings, and you'll see it here in this area. All you'll need to do is to go to this Start link. You'll be starting the actual online meeting. When this happens, Zoom is going to start the process of opening up software that's going to download to your personal computer as well as interact with your browser. You're then going to click Open Zoom Meetings. Now, you may want to click this link that says always open these kinds of links in the associated app so that you can save time on this process. Now, for the purposes of this course, we're going to go ahead and we're going to enable this link because we're going to be doing this more than once. We're now going to click Open Zoom Meetings. Now, we've enabled the recording, so the recording is now being conducted as we speak. Now, one of the things that we have done for the purposes of this video is we have disabled the video. If we want to enable our camera, all we'll need to do is to click on top of this icon and our webcam will then be enabled. Now, we can choose to join with our computer audio, and indeed this is something that your attendees and participants are going to go through also. They're going to be able to join with their computer audio, and you're going to see that Zoom is going to remind you that the recording is not going to include audio unless you click Join Audio. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on top of this button to conduct your meeting with your own computer audio. Now, all of your controls will be at the bottom of the screen. If you want to invite individuals to participate with you, you can click this invite button and they'll be brought into your meeting. And what you'll do is you'll click this button. This is going to give you links or ways to send the invitation. What you can also do is you can choose the content that you'll be sharing, and you'll do that by clicking this button. This is going to give you the opportunity to choose the screens that you're going to be showing during your meeting. In fact, one of the things you'll see here is that there is a place for you to conduct the meeting using your mobile device. We can be even more detailed with the screen that we're going to be using, a particular portion of the screen, individual computer sound, or content from a second camera. We can also enable the chat for our participants. And what we'll need to do is to click this button, and we'll be able to type messages to everyone as well as to receive everyone. Now, when people type back to you, everyone in your group is going to be able to see these messages as they're being typed in real time. You have the ability to either stop or pause the recording by clicking this button. So if you're going to be coming to a place in the recording where you're going to have something that you don't want seen, you can pause the recording here in this area, and then you can turn it back on by clicking this link. Now, we've also discussed the closed caption option. And basically what this is going to do is this is going to give you the ability to either have someone type the notes as they're being conducted in real time, or you can type them here also. If we click this button, you'll then be able to see your controls for closed captioning. You'll also see here that you have breakout rooms, and this is going to be for your participants, not for your attendees to a particular webinar. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click this button once you've completed the presentation or the meeting, and you can click this link that says End Meeting. You can then assign a host to the meeting if you just want to leave it, or if you want to end the meeting, you can click this button that says End Meeting for All. Then Zoom will begin the process of getting your meeting recording ready. You'll then determine where you want your meeting recording to be housed. And then your Zoom recording will be present in the folder that you designated. Welcome back. Now, in cases where you're going to have more than 100 attendees, you're going to want to host a webinar. Now, on the webinar, you will not be able to have more than 100 participants. However, you will be able to have those 100 participants plus other attendees to view the content. Now, to do that, you're going to need to do that from your webinar section. And you'll notice that one of the things that a webinar allows you to do is to monetize your individual events using PayPal and Zapier. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to add your webinar plan onto your Pro plan. That means then that you're going to need to go to your billing section of your account. And then what you'll need to do is you'll need to go to your webinar add-on, and you'll see it here in the bottom panel. And you'll see that as of the recording of this video, the webinar add-on is an additional $40 every month. What you'll do is you'll click this Add button. Now, what you'll be determining is how many participants on your calls you'll be having. So if you want to have more than 100 people participating with you, with their camera, and the ability to interact with you, you'll want to up that number from 100 to either 500 or 1,000. However, if you want 100 participants and you want the others to be able to view your content, you'll be able to do that using the webinar feature. And you can start at the lowest plan. Now, one of the things about Zoom is that you can flexibly add a program on. So you can choose not to add this feature to renew every month. So if you want to use the webinar feature for 1 month, you can do that, and you can set it so that it will not auto renew. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the webinar feature. Now, you'll notice again that we have upgraded our account. You'll also notice then that the 100 participants can engage with up to 10,000 viewers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the user section. We're then going to go and edit our user. We're then going to enable this individual for a webinar, and we're then going to click Save. Once we do that, we'll go back to My Webinars, and you'll notice now that the webinar section is then available, and we can now schedule a webinar. Welcome back. Now, once you have the webinar section available, what you'll need to do here is you'll need to click this button that says Schedule a Webinar. The process is going to be very similar to creating a meeting. So you're going to write in all of your identifying information. Once you've determined the time and duration, you can then determine if it's going to be recurring or if it's going to be one time. You can require registration. You can also determine whether the host and panelists will have video. And in this case, we're going to leave the video turned off. And again, in most cases, you're going to want to make sure that both computer audio and telephone are available for individuals that are going to be attending, especially if you're going to have a webinar where you're going to have more than 100 attendees. What you can also do is require a webinar password if you want the content to be exclusive. You can also enable a practice session so that you make sure that all of your slides and all of your presentation is going to be in order before you go live with the webinar. And one thing that the webinar gives you that a meeting does not is that you can turn your webinar into an on-demand presentation where individuals will have to register, but what they'll basically be watching is going to be a recording. Once you have your settings the way you want them, you can then click the Schedule button. Now, once you've scheduled your call, you're going to want to scroll down, and you're going to have other settings to work with. You need to customize your email settings, including the invitation email to your panelists, emails to your registrants, your panelists, and attendees. You can do all of that in this email settings section. There's also a branding tab. So using the branding tab, you'll be able to display your banner at the top of your invitation page. You'll also be able to upload your logo. If you want to add in information about at least 3 speakers, you can do that here in this section, including their photo, their name, their title, and their organization and bio. You can also customize your post-attendee URL. So for example, we can click this Edit button, and what we can do is we can create a custom URL for the individuals to attend the webinar once it's complete. And we can make it easy to share on social media. If we click this Edit button, we can write in our message for the webinar to be shared on social media. There's a tab for polls. So if we want to create a poll that we're going to ask on the webinar, we can click this Add button and add in that poll for the actual call. We can then determine our Q&A settings. So for example, if we click this Edit button, we can determine how we want questions and answers to be handled in the Q&A panel while we're giving the webinar. And then if you want to live stream, this panel doesn't connect you to anything. It just lets you know that you can take your live stream and you can make it available on Facebook Live and or YouTube. And once all your settings are configured, you can then click Start this webinar. And you'll notice the same panel as the online meeting, with the exception of you have a notice here that says that while you're in practice mode, attendees won't be able to join until you click this Broadcast button. You are recording this session as you are working through your practice content. You'll then have available to you your invitation URL, as well as the ability to invite others by clicking this button. What you'll notice are all the same tools that you had available to you. You'll also see the Q&A tab, as well as the Polls tab. And you'll also see in this More section that you can connect to Facebook as well as YouTube. Welcome back. Now, as mentioned earlier, we can also host webinars and meetings using our mobile device. And so to do that, what you'll need to do is to go over to your App Store, whether you use an Apple device or whether you use an Android device. You'll want to then search for Zoom, and then what you're going to do is to download the app onto your mobile device. You'll then open Zoom on your mobile device. What you'll then do is to sign in with your Zoom account. You'll then determine whether you want to have notifications sent to you. And then you'll determine whether you want to have Zoom access your calendar. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to allow Zoom to access our calendar because we want to be able to use our mobile device to schedule meetings. So for this, we're going to click OK. And in this case, for the sake of this video, we are not going to allow Zoom to use Siri. And since this is particular to an Apple product, we are not going to sign in with our Touch ID. Now what we are going to do is we're going to click New Meeting. And then we're going to click Start a Meeting. Now for the sake of this video, we are not going to allow Zoom to access our camera, but we could for the sake of the video if we needed to be the centerpiece of our presentation. So for now, we're going to click Don't Allow. You'll then need to give Zoom access to your mic. Now you do have some choices. You can invite your mobile contacts to join you on the meeting. And by using the right side menu, we can choose to send this recording to the cloud. We can then choose the content that we are going to be sharing. Now, when we are using our mobile device, we can choose to share our screen or any of the applications available on our device. We can then choose the device that will be doing our screen recording. Once we make that choice, we can then click Start Broadcast. And then our content will be sharing, and we will be conducting our webinar using our mobile device. Once we completed this content, what we'll do is we'll come to this menu, and then we'll click the End button. We'll then choose to leave the meeting or end the meeting. We're going to choose to end the meeting, and our meeting will be complete. Now, there are some settings that we'll want to take note of, and you'll find them in the settings area. And you're going to want to individualize your experience based on how you want to conduct your mobile meetings. Welcome back. Now that our scheduler is available, what we can do is we can click this third button over, and we can schedule our meeting in our calendar. Now, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to write something descriptive about the meeting, and then we'll need to choose the starting time for the meeting. And just as we did using the desktop, we'll need to choose a duration, and when you're using your mobile device, you are going to want to specify your time zone. You'll want to then determine whether your meeting is going to be recurring or just one time. And you'll also want to determine the calendar that you use. And this will be particular to the calendar that's available on your mobile device. In this case, we'll choose our calendar, and we're going to choose iCalendar because that is the calendar that is enabled for our mobile device. You could have calendars such as Google and Outlook connected. If that was the case, you can connect them to this webinar. We then have some options. We can set it up so that we're hosting the video as soon as we start, and we can determine whether we're going to have participants on our video or not. We'll then determine what our audio availability is going to be, and then we have different advanced options available to us on our mobile device. So for example, we can choose to make sure that our meetings are recorded automatically. We can also make sure that video is going to be saved to the cloud. And once we have all of our options configured, we can then click Done. Once we do that, we'll then click the Add Link. And when we go to our calendar enabled on our mobile device, we will find then that the event is there. Welcome back. Now, if you've saved your recording to the cloud and you have the Pro version, when you finish your webinar, one of the things you'll notice is that your recording will be processing in your recording area, and you'll need to click the tab that says Cloud Recordings, and you'll see the processing taking place. If you've done a recording and you've saved it to your local device, you'll see if you click this tab, you'll have that recording available to you, and Zoom will note the location where that recording has been saved. If we want to delete that recording, all we'll need to do is to click this link, and then we'll click this delete button. And we can do the same for the cloud recording once its process is complete. Once your process is complete, what you can do is you can come to your recordings, you can go to this More tab, and then you're going to either download the files or delete them. Now, if you need to download them to edit them, to process them, you can click Download. Now, your browser may alert you that Zoom wants to download multiple files. If that's the case, you're going to click Allow. You'll then see your files available to you in M4A format for audio and MP4 format for video. And once you've successfully downloaded your files, you'll want to go ahead and delete them so you'll be able to manage your storage as you go. Welcome back. You are now looking at version 8 of the screen sharing and recording program Camtasia. And we're looking at this application because we're going to use it in order to edit our Zoom recording. Now, you may not have Camtasia, so you'll be able to use any editing program to edit your recording as long as it can edit MP4 recordings. So what we're going to do is we're going to then take our file command, and then we're going to import the media into our clip bin. Once we have the video there, all we're going to do is we're going to add it to our timeline. Now, every editing program is slightly different. However, you are going to have a timeline available to you. You are going to be able to view both the audio and video in your recording. Now, if you're using Camtasia, one of the things that you can do is you can then separate the audio from the video. We're going to do that by right-clicking and then adding Separate Audio and Video. We can then move through the content in real time, come to the position where we want to edit out the portion that we want, and then we will then stretch the timeline indicator, and then we'll cut that piece out of the recording. Now, whenever we make edits to Camtasia or any other editing program, what we're basically doing is we're creating a different file, which is a project file. And so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to then take our changes as they exist right now, and we're going to save them in a project file for the changes as well as the file. This way, we don't make changes to the actual file. What we make changes to is the project. And so we're going to save this entire project. And you'll notice then that we have saved a Camtasia project. And you'll also notice that the file name has now changed to a different file name. And this is a project file. So once again, all we have in the project file are the changes we made to the file that we imported. We did not make changes to that actual file. And so we'll continue to make edits to this file. We can choose to add in music at the end and at any point where we want to do that. So basically what we want to do is we want to use our video editor to add on any branding and any other information that we want to be in the video, and remove that information that we don't want to show up in the video. In some cases, we may discover that we have sensitive information inside of our video. And so what we'll want to do in Camtasia is we'll want to add a callout. Now, once again, this is going to be different in any video editing application that you want. However, this is a common feature that you'll want to find. You want to add in that feature. In this case, we're going to change a certain part of this to a blur. And we can stretch it to the point in the timeline where we want it. Welcome back. Now, you may have noticed that Zoom does offer cloud recording transcripts for your content, and that is with the business plan. However, the business plan at $19.99 per month as of the recording of this video requires that you purchase licenses for at least 10 hosts. So that may not be cost effective for you to implement. However, one thing that you can do is you can take your recording and you can download the file to your hard drive. Now, that file will appear as an MP4. One option is to use third-party system Descript, which has both a free level as well as a paid level and a team level. You can also transcribe using Timmy.com, which also offers a machine transcription for a low price. However, if you'd rather have a human transcription, you can have that done at a site like Rev.com. Now, Descript, Rev, and Timmy are just a few of the options available to you. The most important fact to note is that you have low to very low cost transcription options available to you for your recording. Now, Zoom does have a third-party app marketplace that will allow you to connect platforms to Zoom in order to do certain tasks. And if you go to the app marketplace and you type in YouTube and you click search, you'll see that there's an application called YouTube for Zoom. And what you'll need to do then is you'll need to sign in to install this application. You'll then need to enable the application and then click install. You'll then need to authorize the app for your account. You'll then need to authorize the app for your YouTube account. You'll then click allow. The application will then be linked to your YouTube account. You'll then be able to configure Splane to work with your Zoom account. And then once you conduct your webinar, you'll then click End Meeting. You'll then end your meeting. Your webinar will then start processing inside of Zoom. Now, once the webinar has completed its processing, you'll see it in your YouTube channel. And because we set up the webinar to be automatically deleted, you'll no longer see it in your cloud recordings, you'll see it in your trash. Now, in order to find the app or uninstall it, you're going to need to go to the app marketplace. And you should be signed into the marketplace. What you'll want to do is to click Manage. You'll see your installed applications, and you'll see this application installed. If for some reason you want to uninstall it, you'll just click this link. Now, it's a good idea to get more information about the application before you install it to your Google account, as well as before you install it to your Zoom account. And you can find out more about the application from splain.io. You'll note that this is a 30-day free trial that you'll be using in order to use Splain with your Zoom and your YouTube account. Welcome back. Now, Zoom does have integration into your cloud-based storage. And to find it, you'll need to scroll down inside of your settings, and you're going to go to this integration tab. And what you'll see here is that you can enable Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, and Microsoft OneDrive. So what this means then is while individuals are on their mobile device, they will be able to share content from their cloud-based storage. So while the individual is on your call, what they'll then need to do is to click the bottom of their screen, and they'll be able to share their content from the drives you have enabled. So for example, in this case, if we click Google Drive, our Google Drive will then be available to us using our Zoom meeting. And once we enable the document, all we'll need to do is to click Share. The file will then start a loading process and will then be part of our sharing process using our mobile device in our Zoom meeting. Welcome back. You can automate the process of transcript creation in the Zoom Marketplace. And if you look at the Zoom Marketplace and you come down into the recording and transcriptions area, you're going to see one link for Trent. We're going to click that link. Now for the Trent integration, you'll need to install it to your Zoom account. And this will automate the process of sending your recordings straight to Trent so that you can have them transcribed. Now Trent is a machine transcription. It has a free trial, and its pricing is going to be slightly less than human transcription and slightly more than most of the machine transcriptions. So this application is something worth looking at if you do want to spend a little more for your machine transcription and the automation process. In conclusion, in this course, we looked at the process of starting meetings and webinars using Zoom. Whether you want to share your cameras or your screen, you can share content with other individuals, whether they are participating with you on a webinar or they are participating with you by watching your content. And in closing, we're looking at the whiteboard and the sharing process, where we can share text, where we can draw, and where we can use our cursor to erase. We also looked at doing webinars, where we can operate in practice mode, and where we can also share Q&A and polling. And as you recall, the paid webinar plan allows us to stream live to YouTube and Facebook. We looked at integrations for storage, and we also looked at the app marketplace, which is only part of the paid plan and allows us to connect to third-party applications. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video or in another course.